All right, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Health Transformation webinar. This is your host, Cade Archibald, and I am really stoked to have you guys on today. We're going to be talking a lot about peptides and what that advantage is, what that gives you, and just some all-around really cool stuff. So hello, Instagram world. And welcome to the webinar. I'll actually share my screen with you. Those of you on Instagram and webinar, you guys should be able to see the screen as we speak. If you guys have questions that come up, don't hesitate to type them into the chat box. So today, typically you guys get to hear more from Reagan. Reagan is actually, ironically enough, he's at a training on stem cells and peptides and how you can really maximize outcomes, performance, and everything with these with peptides along with stem cells. So got some really cool stuff. He's learning, growing, so he can share with you guys, and we can continue to get amazing results for patients. So thank you guys for joining us, and I'll dive in here. So we've had a lot of questions come up lately on, what are peptides? What can this do? They've heard about it from different sources, and there's a little bit of buzz going on about it. I think it's still somewhat new. Not, they've been around for a long time, but just people haven't been talking about him significantly, and so I think you guys are in for a really cool treat. So I'm going to flip my screen here on the Instagram world and try to get you guys so you can actually see the stuff that I'm covering and talking about. You guys feel free to chime in. And so we're going to dive in. So what is the peptide advantage? So what are peptides? So peptides, they're small proteins. They act as highly specific signaling molecules in many crucial functions in our bodies. They assist in hormone production, cell signaling, cell-to-cell communication. And so really some really cool dynamics with just helping your cells signal better, helping them understand things better. And have a better communication pattern. So this can, some of the benefits, very low toxicity. They have high chemical and biological diversity, very highly potent and specific. So you can dial in a really specific peptide for what your specific goal is. And I'll go over what are the main peptides that we use. They're very efficacious, safe, and most people tolerate them extremely well. You can really be specific on what you're trying to accomplish, or it has more of a broad scope as well. And so it looks at it from a broad spectrum where you can get more of a diverse peptide protocol and goals, or you can be very specific, more specific for brain or muscle recovery, things like that. But this is really, broad range of targets. It enhances stem cell growth. Perhaps the biggest advantage of the therapeutic peptides is the fact that they're designed to be virtually any cellular process, to be able to integrate with any cellular process. So they can block interactions of proteins as long as there's enough of a sequence to target that. And it can also help, the peptide can bind on a specific protein and block a specific signal, or vice versa, enhance a signal. And so really dynamic from a purpose standpoint. So what What conditions can peptides help with? So they can, they've been used to help with a wide range of different conditions, different problems, but sleep enhancement, insomnia. There's a lot of research and data showing it can help with cancer treatments, dementia or brain health, different joint injuries, things like that, IBS, neurodegenerative conditions, MS, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, some of those, fibromyalgia, seen really great things with peptides in those instances. Just chronic inflammation, they can really help turn off some of those inflammatory proteins. Helps in Lyme disease, mold. When you've been heavily exposed to mold, or even light exposure to mold, and you're having some of those symptoms, peptides can really help move that stuff out of the body. HIV, chronic infections, HBV, TBIs, so traumatic brain injuries. There's different applications. There's capsules. There's injections. There's also intranasal or nasal spray. That's actually one of the peptides that I've been able to do is intranasal for enhanced just overall enhanced brain function. There's some applications for ED or low libido, Hashimoto's, different thyroid issues. And so what types of therapies are available? So we've kind of narrowed it down. There's so many broad ranges of peptides out there. And so we've kind of narrowed it down to what are kind of the 5 key peptides that we're going to be using, or that we use in our office. And we can get more differentiated, but these seem to be the 5 foundational ones. So I'll kind of go through these. But synapsin, that's a big one. It's it's a patent pending powder blend of ginsenoside, RG3, and nicotinamide riboside, along with components to aid in solubilization and dispersion. Wow, having a tough time talking here. Supports neurological and cognitive health. Synapsin, it was invented by a renowned author, pharmacist, functional medicine practitioner, Jim Laval. It's commonly used to support neural function and cognition. So great for cognitive performance. So supports neural health. It also supports your NAD production. It's a great way to boost your NAD. And that's really what helps your mitochondria really increase function production. It's in the central and peripheral nervous system. Supports healthy sirtuin expression, and supports healthy mitochondrial function, supports the attenuation of microglial activation. So really good for your glial cells in the brain. So ginsenoside RG3. So RG3 is one of the several ginsenosides found in the plant genus Panax. So it's ginseng. So a lot of lab studies reporting that RG3 extracted from the Panax ginseng supports neuroprotection, helping it to support healthy microglial activity and healthy neuronal function. So those are, we went over synapsin, RG3, and then another one, the nicotinamide riboside, or NR, and that's what I'm going to use from now on. So you can just understand that as NR is a form of, it's a vitamin B3. It's found in cow's milk. Lab studies report that administering NR can help supports healthy levels of NAD in yeast and cultured human and mammalian cells. NR is reported to be incorporated into the cellular NAD pool through an action of nicotinamide riboside kinase, so NRK pathway, or through that NAM nicotindamide salvage after conversion. So these studies are reporting really supportive with neuroprotective role in NAD, and really helps with long-term metabolism and longevity. Like NAD is seen as the longevity nutrient because, or strand. So the reason being, it really helps enhance your mitochondrial function, which mitochondria is the energy house in your cell. So if your mitochondrial function is down, or you have mitochondrial fatigue, man, your whole body, like the cells in your body, are just sluggish. And so if you can really help boost up that, boosting NAD then boosts your mitochondrial function. Some other things, you have vitamin B12 from methylcobalamin. It can also help lower homocysteine, which is an inflammatory marker, and decreases somatic and autonomic symptoms in diabetic neuropathy. So it can really help with neuropathy. So RG3, it's 90% isolated from Panax ginseng. So let's dive into Cerebral Ison. So I have not used Cerebral Ison yet. Reagan was going to share his story with this today, but he's been doing this for about 2 or 3 weeks and seeing some really and just really likes how it makes his brain feel, and his focus and energy levels are up. So Cerebral Ison, it's a nootropic. So we've talked about nootropics a lot. This is something that can help increase the BDNF, or brain-derived nootropic factor, in your brain, helps increase circulation and just overall cognitive function. So this is helping enhance cognitive function, memory, creativity, motivation. So it helps with your drive. Rather than being a single peptide, Cerebral Ison is a mixture of a few different small peptides derived from brains of pigs. So watch out there. We'll all be turning into pigs. So the small size of the Cerebral Ison means it can cross the blood-brain barrier very easily, and get into the cerebral spinal fluid, and directly act on the central and peripheral neurons. So it's a great neuroprotectant, so great for protecting your nerves. They've shown it, using it clinically, being effectively used for dementia, including Alzheimer's disease, and then mild cognitive impairment, recovery after a stroke. This is actually, if I remember right, they use this pretty actively in, I believe it's in Russia, is where some of these, that's where a lot of the nootropics were created. But as soon as you have a TBI, they're administering Cerebral Ison, or not a TBI, but a stroke, and a TBI, concussion, spinal cord injuries, ADHD, treatment-resistant depression. So if you know someone that's gone through a lot of different treatments for depression, just nothing's touching it, this might be something that could help. Studies also indicate Cerebral Ison safe in humans for short-term use up to 3 years. It's not FDA approved, so, we can't say it's treating a specific condition or disease. But there's quite a few references of, randomized placebo-controlled double-blind studies with recovery after stroke, beneficial effect on function and global outcomes in early rehab patients after strokes. So this is part of the study that I'm reading here. It's safety. Its safety was comparable with that of the placebo, suggesting a favorable benefit over risk factor. Because the study was exploratory and had a relatively small sample size, the results should be confirmed in a large randomized study. So I'm going to turn you guys around just so you can see some of what I'm diving into. I figure those of you in the Instagram world, it's a lot less engaging if you're just staring at my computer screen. So I'll flip it around here and there. All right, let's talk a little bit about Cmax. So Cmax is one that I've, a peptide that I've used fairly regularly. And so Cmax, so this is the Russian one. I'm sorry, I got it wrong. So it's based on fragmented, it's ACTH, adrenocorticotropic hormone. So in Russia, Cmax is used for medication for treatment and prevention and treatment of circulatory disorders, including stroke, TBIs, addiction, ADD, ADHD, and depression. So the use is peptide ulcers, learning issues, gastric protection, physical exertion. So, a lot of fatigue things. Metal toxicity will help get rid of heavy metals, and anti-thrombosis. So if you're on blood thinners, probably don't do Cmax, or make sure you talk to your medical provider about that and make sure they're aware of it. Cognitive functioning, mold, chronic stress, vagal reflex. So these are all different things that Cmax is really helpful with. So it's listed on the Russian list of vital and essential drugs, reference of key medications, which is reviewed and approved by the Russian government. It's also used as a nootropic or a cognitive enhancer. It can help in enhance memory performance, reduce negative effects of stress. So how it works, let's dive into this. This is the cool part. So it increases your BDNF, or your brain-derived nootropic factor levels, prevents the breakdown of enkephalins, protects the nervous system from oxidative damage or oxidative stress. So it can really help keep your cells fresh, or your nervous system fresh. Affects the expression of genes related to the immune and vascular systems during stroke. Cmax has also been shown to protect the body and brain from various types of oxidative damage and stress. So the whole body, great for oxidative stress or anti-aging. Cmax improved memory and attention in a Russian study of task performance in healthy men. Also decreased learning time in animal studies. That's a really cool insight there. So there's C-Link, which is a brother of Cmax. So really similar. Just for the sake of time, I'm going to jump into thymosin. So the thymus gland is located behind the breastbone and between your lungs. So kind of right there in the sternum area. Although it's only active until puberty. It nevertheless plays a crucial role in development of the immune system and in protecting the body against autoimmunity. It's responsible for producing and secreting hormone called thymosin, which stimulates the development of white blood cells called your T lymphocytes or T cells. For their role in regulating the immune system is huge. And so this peptide can be very immune modulatory. So, and there's a few different types of thymosins. So that's why it's labeled as thymosins, because we got multiple different types. So you have thymosin alpha 1, you have thymosin beta 4. Both of these have been shown to have important clinical applications in modulating immune responses, neuroplasticity, blood vessel formation. So with thymosin alpha 1, it's naturally produced peptide of the 28 amino acids that can enhance the body's ability to recognize and respond to foreign invaders. So it helps your body's immune system find those foreign invaders faster and easier. At a cellular level, TA1 interacts with proteins called toll-like receptors. And it's the interaction with the TLRs, or the toll-like receptors, on dendritic cells and precursor T cells that results in immune stimulating effects. So this can increase your natural killer cell activity, increased expression of Th1 type cytokines, increased level of cytotoxic T cells, reduces apoptosis of immune cells. So apoptosis is a premature cell death, a shift of T helper cells to type 1 T helper cells, and activation of dendritic cells. So some of the studies show immune dysregulation and immunosenescence, which is a gradual deterioration of immune system associated with age. So as you age, obviously, a lot of people's immune system decreases. So that results in an imbalance of Th1 and Th2. So these cells secrete proteins called cytokines that are very protective. There's TNF. So you have Th1 cells produce interferon G, or interleukin 2. Those are pro-inflammatory cytokines. And then your Th2 cells, they produce IL-4, IL-5, IL-6, 10, 13. Those are all anti-inflammatory. So, you hear us talking about sorry guys, I had a phone call come in there. So you've heard us talk about the protein IL-6 and IL-4 in the StemVive or the stem cell product that we'll use, and seeing great things happen with reducing inflammation and increasing those anti-inflammatory cytokines. So they also these cells produce. They differ types of immune system responses they produce, typically deal with pathogens, get inside the cells, such as bacteria and viruses. And then the Th2 cells, parasites that attack from the outside cells, as well as toxins and allergens. So it really helps enhance the immune system. So some of the things that an increase, so we want those to be well balanced. So we don't want one larger than the other as far as Th1 and Th2. So you don't want to have it in a dominant position, but in some people there's prolonged period which one of those becomes dominant. In particular, an increase in Th2 relative to Th1 has been linked to depression, insulin resistance, obesity, diabetes, chronic fatigue syndrome, fibromyalgia, autoimmunity, oxidative stress, chronic infections such as Lyme, viruses, zinc and other mineral deficiencies, sex hormone changes, food allergies, dysbiosis, even cancer. So this is a really, really good peptide to help help with that immune Dysregulation and help balance out your Th1 and Th2. So the clinical application is when you have a overloaded Th2 compared to Th1, use the TA1 thyrosin alpha 1, and that can help restore balance of the body by increasing Th1 and decreasing Th2, thus breaking that cycle of immune dysfunction. So here's some of the studies that have shown, so a lot of studies have shown that this can benefit a broad range from boosting influenza antibody response, hepatitis B, sepsis, COPD, or lung disease, melanoma, lung cancer, fungal infection, cystic fibrosis, HIV-1. So there's different, due to the success of some of these clinical trials, drugs containing TA1 been approved for clinical use in over 35 countries, including the US. Very few reports of adverse effects. So really cool peptide that's available. So a lot of these, I'll just wrap things up. We're coming to the end here, and just, a lot of these, they typically do require prescription. You can work with us with one of our healthcare providers here in our offices if this is something that you're interested in. We'll typically use these. We're starting to use these a lot in our wellness programs and just our overall comprehensive health plans. But if you're someone out there that is looking to increase your immune system, increase your overall health, maybe reduce aging as well, or just have better longevity of cells and mitochondrial function, there's more than likely there's going to be a peptide that could be very, very helpful for you. So reach out to us. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. You learned something. You can also, all this stuff that I was referencing, it is also on our website at AccuEastWest.com under the peptide. So if you go to services and go to the Peptide Advantage, you can review this very easily. But love you guys so much. Hope to see you guys. Don't forget, we have our retreat coming up November 8th. Friday, November 8th in St. George. So if you're down in St. George area, hit us up. Or in Salt Lake, November 15th. So look forward to seeing you guys there. We'll be back same time, same place next week. Love you all. Have an amazing day. Bye-bye.